Hi. In this episode, I am putting my own spin on the rebel archetype, and I'm going to share with you 6 actionable steps on how you can craft your own inner rebel and channel her fiercely into 2024 and beyond. Let's go. Welcome to All In with Allie podcast, the podcast for online business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I am so happy you are here. Hi. I'm not trying to brag. Okay. I'm not trying to be that person who kicks off a podcast full on bragging about what she's wearing right now, but I am wearing a shirt with a teddy bear on it that says, God grant me the serenity to accept the vibes that aren't rootin' tootin'. So here we are. And don't ask me where I got this because I totally got served an ad. I was actually looking for crop tops for a concert I went to this year and got served these ads with super, super cute crops with all these different designs on them. And I ordered a handful of them and it came 100 months later from China, shout out China. And they were cute, but like, I don't know. It looked like the designs were ironed on, which isn't what I wanted. I was hoping for something a little more higher quality, but I literally couldn't remember the company that I ordered from because it was so far past since I had ordered it. So I had to keep them and now I wear them. And actually I've washed it a couple of times and it's not half bad. So anyway, hi. This episode, I think we're going to air it. I don't know if we're going to air it on Christmas because it's due to come out on Monday, which is Christmas, or if we're going to do the day after. I don't know. I don't know what the best course of action is and what we have decided in the future. But regardless, if you celebrate Christmas, I hope you are having or had a wonderful Christmas. Otherwise, I hope you're having a fabulous holiday season and you're happy and you're well. And more than anything, I hope you're as excited about a new year as I am. Because when I tell you, I'm not one of these people who like shits on a past year, is like, I'm so ready to leave this year behind and go into a new year. Cause I don't know. That's just not who I am. Even 2020, I wasn't one of those people who was like, yeah, this year was whack. I mean, it was, but even then I was like, not half bad. I'm an introvert. I dug it a little bit, but 2023, I mean, you've probably already heard my year in review episode, which was a couple of episodes ago or less. I don't know, whatever it was. And yeah, if you haven't listened to that, go listen because you'll hear my full thoughts on 2023. It was such an interesting year. And I want to say this because we're going to be talking about some energy that we're going to be channeling, right? We're going to source this within ourselves and we are going to be channeling this and pushing it through and busting up into 2024 like it's our freaking job. Okay. I'm calling it the rebel archetype. You can call it whatever the hell you want. Really, you can take these 6 things and you can call it, like, if you don't love the word rebel, it genuinely, do you want to know why I'm calling this rebel? It came to me in a dream. Isn't that crazy? I literally dreamed this. And when I looked up what the actual definition of rebel is, I was like, I don't know if that's exactly right. I wasn't obsessed. By the way, the definition is a person who resists any authority, control, or tradition. And then also has to do with resisting the government. So I'm not exactly calling us to be anarchists here, which is why I said I'm putting my own spin on it. But like I said, it came to me in a dream. So I'm like, well, shoot, who am I to argue with my subconscious? So we're going with it, but you can call this whatever you want. And I talked in the year in review episode about how I noticed for myself such a distinct difference in energy in how I came into the year 2022 versus how I came into the year 2023. And listen, everything happens for a reason. And I had plenty of reasons, plenty of excuses, as I'm sure you do. We can always pull up as many excuses as we need out of our ass to justify whatever kind of behavior we're putting out into the world. We know this. And I had my own. And it was just night and day. I went into 2022 guns a-blazing that was going to be my best year, period. Not just even in business. It was just like, I am going to make this year my BIA, okay? And I did, for the most part, I did. Things came off the tracks a little bit end of the year. We're not even going to get into it. But I did. And we have so much control. We don't have control over everything, obviously, but we are co-creators here. We do have a say in a large part, I think probably bigger than what we give ourselves credit for. We have an amount of control in what it is that we create and bring forth into this minute, this hour, this day, month, year, and beyond. So with this being an episode that's airing right before the new year, this is the perfect time to get clear on this, to dream up what's the vibe? What are we calling forth in 2024? How are we going into 2024? What is going to be your perception of yourself, your level of self-belief, self-worth? Because if you go into a room believing something with all of your heart, if you go into a room with a certain level of confidence, what are other people going to perceive? Your confidence. And vice versa. You go into a room or a year with a certain amount of self-doubt and, whatever else negative trait we want to throw in there, people are going to pick up on that too. So this is important. And this is a really freaking exciting conversation. Also, what came to me into like the full thing that came into a dream, actually it's two parts. There was an idea suggested to me from my friend Laura and past client, and she's incredible. She'll be on the podcast at some point in 2024, I know. But she messaged me and she was like, I want you to create this thing for 2024. And at first I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, wait, that I kind of love it. And then I had this dream of what it could be, because the way she brought it to me, she was like, I would love some sort of group, some sort of like month-long something to get your mind right for 2024, whether we talk about goal setting or we talk about mindset or whatever. She was like, I just love having something like that to lean into going into a new year, because it really sets the tone. And she was like, and I would love to do it with you if this is something that you're creating or you want to create. She told me this like a week ago. And I was not planning on doing this at all, but I kind of thought about it and I was like, I love this idea too. But I didn't want it to be like a cheesy, not that it's cheesy, but basic, like goal setting, mindset, positivity, random group that, everybody and their mom is doing or hosting or has been part of at some point. I didn't want it to be anything like that. I wanted to, of course, put my own spin on it. And that's where the idea of Rebel came from. So if you like the vibe of this conversation, I have a group. I'm hosting it all of January, okay? January 1 to January 31st, where we are sending out daily prompts, activations, call to actions, all around this vibe to help you take this energy and cultivate it even more and bring it forth even more than just listening to a podcast and getting fired up for 5 minutes. Okay, so I'll give you the details on that at the end of this episode. And I'm very excited about it. Okay. So Rebel, like I said, Rebel, the actual definition is a person who resists any authority, control, or tradition, especially government, those sort of things. And that's not what we're doing. So here's my spin on it. My spin on it is a person who resists the status quo. a person or what's considered normal, right? And I want to be clear. A person who resists the status quo or what's considered quote unquote normal because they can see and envision something better, because that the status quo is just not serving them in some way, not simply to resist it just because, right? There are those people out there that just, if it's popular, they want to resist it just because it's popular. That's not what I'm talking about here. If that's your vibe, fine. But I'm saying a person who resists these things because they dream and dare to dream bigger. They know that it can be done better. They know that for whatever reason, that's not it. It's outdated. It doesn't serve them. It doesn't serve, their what they think can be better and healthier and stronger in their own mind. So a lot of things that are considered quote unquote normal or standard or basic or conventional. Rebel, and my spin on rebel is the person who dares to resist that and actually take action on it. So this goes so much further than bitching and complaining about things that you wish were different. That does nothing for anybody. This goes so much further than talking the talk. I'm talking about people that are willing to actually make a change. A person who dares to zig when others zag, who isn't scared to speak her truth even when it's unpopular. My definition of rebel is a woman with her eyes fixed on what it can be versus on what it was. Okay, so instead of saying, well, this is what it's always been, this is what I've always done, this is my proof, this is my past, she's not focused on that. She knows that with a strong enough vision and a strong enough belief in her power to make a change, she can make that happen with the correct focus and mindset and actually moving toward that thing and taking action toward what she wants to see versus, again, what it was, what it's been. That is my definition and my spin on rebel. So why I want us to bring this energy into the new year is because I have this unique perspective in a sense. On the past 2 years, I have like my experience of the past 2 years, which I've talked about many times. 2022 was something, 2023 was very different. And I've also been in a group. I've been in a high level mastermind for the past 2 years, almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in March. And in this mastermind, I have the pleasure and opportunity to be in this group of very successful women who are in their own right, just slaying the freaking game, but in different industries, which is really, really neat. It's a really cool opportunity, right? Because we don't all do the same thing. We all do, we all have different passions and focuses and businesses in different industries for the most part. Some of us definitely overlap. But anyway, I've had the pleasure and the opportunity to put myself in this room for the past 2 years in a row. And while I have my own experience of the past couple of years and what 2023 has been, I've also seen a lot of parallels with other people as well, where there's just been a difference. Like 2023, I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but it feels like a test. 2023 feels like a big ass test, or it's felt like a big test. It's felt like, okay, you've come this far, you've received a certain level of success and accolades, and you say you're in this thing, but so far all you've been is successful. Are you still in it when you're not hitting the same level of success? Are you still in it even when it's hard? Are you the person you say you are when you are put to the test and when pressure is applied? That's what 2023 feels like. And we have talked about this, especially in my mastermind often. This is just something that keeps coming up because we're all feeling this in different ways. We're all experiencing and have experienced, especially this past year, a level of testing, a level of just frustration and confusion and feeling a little bit, I guess, like, where you're not grounded, right? Like, which way is up? Which way is down? Am I on the right track? Like, what is, it's been very confusing. And again, not just for me, there are many other women who have felt very similar. So again, this has been a conversation we've been having quite often. And I've said this before, but one of my favorite quotes from a mentor is, leaders are bridges and bridges get tested. And that is what we've been here, or what I've noticed I've been feeling, and so many women that I look up to and respect have all, and my own clients as well, who I also look up to and respect, have been experiencing as well. Because here's the thing, and it makes sense. In 2020, there was an influx, right? There was this huge rise of online businesses, especially coaches. Why? Obvious reasons, right? COVID hit. People were getting laid off. People were scared. And it was this incredible opportunity to take something and create something online. And you had a larger audience, a more susceptible audience, an audience that just wanted to be distracted and that wanted a sense of hope more than, and opportunity more than anything else, right? It's like shooting fish in a freaking barrel. So if you were already in business in 2020, or you started your business in 2020, chances are you had a pretty good time in getting that business off the ground or growing your business. I know this was my experience. It was just like, boom, okay, we're off to the races. 2021, you're still riding that wave. 2022, still riding that wave, right? Like if you know, the 2 years to ride a wave and get really skilled at it. And again, to maximize the shock waves of such a massive year of 2020, it creates a pretty solid business in a lot of ways. You know, you learn a lot, but business in general will always come in waves. Entrepreneurship will always come in waves. What goes up must come down, and so on and so forth. So we've been riding this wave, it's felt like, from, 2020 to 2022. And then it feels like 2023 was a little bit of a dip, a little bit of a shudder in a way, and what I've noticed is it's genuinely a good thing, because when business is good and opportunity is there, you have to have skill to have a business, period. You have to have skill and a level of passion to make something work. But again, when things are just easy, that only says so much, right? Most people can do that when things are easy, but not everybody can continue to ride that wave and stay in the game and stay dedicated to what they say they believe in when things aren't as easy. Right? It's easy for anybody to fix their mouth and say, yeah, I'm passionate about this and I want to make a change in the world and I want to help this many women and I want to do this and I want to be a thought leader and a leader in this space. And it's so easy to say that when the money's there, when the clients are there, when things are good. Why would you not say that? But as soon as those things start to dissipate, or just business challenges arise, now you got to put your money where your mouth is. Do you believe it or not? When things are good and when things aren't as good. So what we've seen this year is we've seen a lot of people fall off. We've seen a lot of people all of a sudden change their tone and say, actually, it's not about this. Actually, the coaching industry is whack. Actually, this coach is whack. Actually, this is all, it's not going to last. It's whatever. There are some people who quietly just say, okay, this wasn't for me and go. But then there are other people, their ego literally cannot handle it. So then they have to make enemies out of the people who are still in the game. And that says a lot too. You see a lot of that. So anyway, that's what 2023 has been in my mind, is this opportunity to demonstrate what you've learned and how much you believe in yourself and how much you're willing to stay in the game and keep playing the game even when you're not winning the whole time. How bad do you want to be here? How much do you believe in yourself? So leaders are bridges, bridges get tested. I feel like 2023 was a test year. And I'm praying that 2024 will be the year that we are awarded for still being here going into it. But I don't know. It's an election year. I feel like it's about to get freaking cray. The Epstein list is about to be released, I think January 1st. I think our reality is about to be put on its head again. So, hey, let's just hope this is good for online business, right? Anyway, all of that said, we are co-creators, okay? We cannot control every single circumstance that happens in our life. Also, we would not want everything to be easy all the time. You don't learn jack crap when things are easy. You learn when you're tested, right? That's where the real skill comes in, when you are being put to the test. So while in the moment it feels like, I don't like this. This sucks. You come out the other side and you're like, whew, we made it. And look how much I learned. Look how much skill I gained. Not to mention, look how much I can support somebody else who goes through something like this in the future. I say this all the time to my clients and to myself when I'm going through a shitty time. And I'm like, dude, why me? This is so annoying. Why do I have to go through this? But I think to myself, if a client comes to me in the future and is having a hard time, having failed launches, or is getting dragged on the internet, or, whatever the case may be, I can't support her if I've never been through it, right? Like, imagine if you come to me and you're like, hey, I'm having a dip in my business and it's really hard and I'm questioning everything and I really want to stay in this, but I'm having a really hard time. Imagine if I was like, oh man, I can't relate to that, but here's what I think you should do. I've never experienced this, so I can't tell you what I've done in this situation, how I came out the other side, but I can speculate. You'd be like, no, thank you. I'm not paying for speculation. So that's another reframe for whatever it is that you went through this year or whatever year or will go through in the future. And we are co-creators. We are co-creators. We can reframe all day long and we can rewrite the story. We can rewrite the narrative. All of the best stories, best movies, best books, heroes in history, there is that moment where you're like, are they or aren't they? Are they going to make it? Are they going to survive? Are they going to stand back up or are they going to stay on the ground? Well, I can guarantee you every single story where they do get back up and they become the hero of that story, they didn't go into that situation, woe is me. They didn't go into that situation thinking, oh man, last year was awful. This year's probably going to be worse. Oh, did you hear what CNN is saying about this year? Did you hear about what they're saying about the economy? Oh, nobody's buying anything. Nobody bought anything last month. It's probably going to be the same this month. It's just going to get worse. No, you would never hear that story because that person would have just stayed on the ground. Nothing would have changed and it would not have been revolutionary or interesting or inspiring at all. That's status quo. That's basic stuff. That's the average person. I hate to say this, but average people don't do incredible things. That's why we call them average. So it gets confusing sometimes when you're trying to go above average and you're trying to be the person who dares to do things different and be the rebel in your own right. And you're looking around and everybody's walking the same way, talking the same way, believing the same things. And you're like, wait, am I crazy or are they crazy? The answer is, it's up to you. It's whatever you tell yourself. You're the star of your show, your movie. So how are you going to go into this next season? How are you going to go into today, tomorrow, and next year? and the rest of your life. So I hope you go into it like a mother effing rebel. All right. Like somebody who takes the status quo, looks it in the face and says, you thought. That's how it always has been until it met me. Okay. It happened until it ran into me. I'm going to change things up. So how can we take this rebel energy and make it our own and carry this vibe into 2024 in any room you walk into in the future? I've got 6 things that I've been reflecting on that we're going to go into. Starting with number 1, and these are in no particular order. Starting with number 1, moving forward, if you want to really embody the rebel archetype in the way that we're talking about, we don't ask for permission anymore. That's old childish stuff. No more asking for permission, no more relying on validation. We don't do that. Another conversation that we were just having in the mastermind that I'm in is one of the chicks in there. She runs Facebook ads and she's created this insane business that has just skyrocketed in success so fast. And she's not even 30 years old. She's an enigma. It's unbelievable. And she was talking about how last year she was setting up for this really big launch, right? They were going to invest all of this money into this giant launch, and it was going to be like her biggest launch yet. And she was like super prepared and fired up about it. And she was reflecting on it months later. And she said, it actually ended up being one of my most disappointing launches. She was just like, we put in all this money and it wasn't what I was expecting. And one of the reasons why she was reflecting on why that was so was because with her marketing and her messaging, she brought it to the mastermind. She was like, what do you think? What would you change about this? Right? So she took her ideas that she was going to use in launch and she brought it and she was like, give me your notes. What would you say? How's this image? And she got feedback and she made changes, and then it didn't go as planned. And this was such a profound moment because we are visionaries here. Like how can I explain this? I want you to think of online business owners and online creators in like 2 different categories. And this is an oversimplification, but just for this example, think of it in this way. 2 categories. There are the visionaries, the people that come up with the ideas, the people that take pure magic from their head and put it out and actually create something new. And then there are people that see that and put their own spin on it. Not necessarily copy, although there are definitely creators who copy. But they take what's become normal and the new status quo online and they just follow suit with zero question, zero regard about, is this actually what I want or do I have new ideas? Like, when's the last time you've gone to create something in your business or online, whether it be a piece of content or an offer or whatever, and asked yourself, can I do this a different way? Do I want to do this a different way? Would this be better and more serving to put a different spin on this, even though nobody else does? That's how you innovate. That's how you go from just a basic person on the internet to somebody who's actually creating something new, right? A visionary. So her reflection was she took her vision and let people that aren't even in her industry, that aren't even, people that she respects, but people that don't really understand why that's her vision, why she's saying those things, and letting them put their red pen all over it, right? That'd be like whoever you look up to right now, and the example that we were talking about in the mastermind was like Taylor Swift, right? She's having this huge moment right now. And she's like one of the best creators of all time. You can't argue that, no matter what your thoughts are on her. And that'd be like her writing a song from the depths of her soul and going to somebody else who's not a songwriter, or who writes a different style song, or who wasn't there to understand why she said this word versus that word, and so on and so forth, and letting them make their red notes all over it and then changing it and assuming that they know better than what was in her soul. We do this all the time. And that doesn't mean that you can't have mentorship. That doesn't mean, and the difference here is this: if you are new in a space, if you genuinely don't know how to copyright, or how to launch or create an offer, right? If you're just like green and trying to get your foot in the door, get a mentor to support you. There's a big difference in that, in saying, hey, am I on the right track here? Like, am I focusing on the right thing? Am I, is this based on your vast knowledge of this thing that I'm hiring you for? Am I on the right track? Versus, I've been in this game for years. I know what I'm doing. What are your thoughts on this incredible idea I have? Best case scenario, people get it and they're like, damn, that's fire. Worst case scenario, they don't get it. They don't understand your vision or your soul, and they make you doubt it or change it when it was perfect to begin with. So number one is, we're not going into a new year looking for people to tell us it's okay to do the thing that we want to do. We're not looking for somebody to validate us and say, yes, you're good enough to do this thing that you want to do. Yes, you have what it takes. You have the it factor. You're smart enough. You're funny enough. You're pretty enough. You're charismatic enough. Go for it. We're not doing that. You don't need that. You have everything that you need in your heart. I'm even going to take this a step further and say, with our partners in our house, even if you have a partner who is floating your lifestyle, who's paying for your lifestyle, we don't need their permission anymore either. Because if you believe in yourself enough and you go to them with that conviction and you say, hey, I'm going to do this because I have to, because it's why I'm here on this planet, and I believe in myself, and it may not pop off the first freaking month, maybe not even the first year, but if I don't do this, I will forever regret it. If you have somebody who looks at you in the face and says, no, we have a problem. We have a problem. So no, we're not doing that this year. You don't need other people's validation. You need to validate yourself. You need to validate yourself. Because, and I've experienced this. If you believe in what you're doing and you know why you're doing it and you're connected to it and your heart and soul is connected to it, and again, you believe that if not now, it's only a question of when things are going to click into place for you, it won't matter what other people say. I've experienced this in ways where I get an idea and I'm not really like, oh, this would be cool just to ruffle feathers, right? Like, I'm going to do this thing because I feel like it'll get attention, or it's like the cool thing to do. This is what everybody's doing. I'm trying to think of an example. Probably content is the best example that I've had, where I'm saying something that, like, just to be a little controversial, because I'm like, yeah, this is what you need to do. You need to be a little polarizing. And then when you get pushback, it's like, I wasn't even really like, then you start doubting yourself because you're not saying it with your heart. You're saying it just to say it. You're saying it because it's like a business strategy versus it's what you really believe and really want to stand by, So when people say something like, or push back or give their own opinion that's different than yours, you feel wobbly. You're like, wait, is this really what I believe? Is this really what I want to do? Do I really have what it takes? Versus, for example, I'm launching Rebel right now, right? And as I record this, for the past few days, I've put it out into the world, and I am doing, like, the marketing for this is unlike anything I've ever done before. I've got pictures applying liquid eyeliner using the blade of a knife. Like these are my visuals. Okay. I've got pictures I haven't shared yet of me smoking a cigarette. You have not seen these yet. Maybe by the time this goes live, I've posted one of them. By the way, it's a healthy cigarette. It's a cigarette that I found on Amazon called Chelsea's Healthies. It's like no nicotine, no nothing. And I don't smoke. I've never smoked a day in my life, but it was just like it was just so fun. And I haven't had this much fun in a launch and in the creation of the visuals since I can remember. And I don't care what anybody says. Like if anybody sees these images and is like, this is stupid. This is like, who are you trying to be? I genuinely would give 0 Fs because 1, I believe in this thing that I'm putting out to the world. 2, I'm having so much fun. And 3, this is like who I am. That's a version of me that's very, very real and a true reflection of who I am. So do you feel the difference? I'm not doing this. I'm not launching it in this way and using these visuals to be cool just to get attention because I think they're going to get a rise. I'm doing it because I want to, because I believe in it, because I'm having a good time. So anybody who positively validates it, it's nice. It's like, okay, you get the vision. But if anybody were to come up and be like, this is whatever, and disagree, I respectfully wouldn't give two you-know-whats, So that's the vibe. No more permission, no more relying on validation to believe in what you're doing and to pursue the things that you want to pursue. We don't need it. Number 2, blinders up. Blinders up, blinders up, blinders up. No more comparison. We're not doing it. It's unhealthy. It doesn't serve anybody. It's distracting and it threatens to totally strip your magic out of what could be your signature on this freaking planet. How many times have you gotten an idea that you were really excited about, and then you got online and you saw somebody doing maybe something similar or something completely different, and then you start to question the thing that you wanted to do? I know for me, that's happened many times. There have been many times with my own mentor, by the way, that I get an idea and I'm like, ooh, that would be really cool. And I get really excited about it. And then I happen to be on the same wavelength of her, Melanie, and she puts out or says something super similar. So I'm like, oh, I can't do that now. There's people are going to get similar ideas. When you're on the same wavelength and you're a frequency match to people, you're going to get very similar ideas. That's okay. You will always put your own spin on it. Always. As long as that's your intention, you will. But to get an idea to do something that you're genuinely excited about, and then to change your mind because somebody else has done blank is awful. It's very depressing. Now, if you have an idea for an invention and you look and you see somebody else has done it, then yeah, that's probably going to save you some time. But as far as like an online offer idea or marketing or whatever, it doesn't need to happen. It's just a waste of time. It creates an opportunity to overthink and to dim your light. So what I recommend that we all do is unfollow and mute. Be happy to. So me personally, I do not follow or have anybody in my feed that's in my industry unless I have a very healthy relationship with that person. And I respect their style, but it's very different than mine. And there's none of that like feeling of that I need to compare myself or worried about what they're doing. There are just some people out there that you can respect what they do and watch it, and it carries no charge. And then there's other people that you also respect what they do. You admire them, but for whatever reason, there's a charge. We don't need to judge the charge. We don't need to, it doesn't matter. It's there for whatever reason. We don't need to psychoanalyze it. You don't need to judge yourself or them for that reason. It's just not serving you. You can feel it in your body. When you scroll past somebody and you stop and it gives you a feeling in your gut for whatever reason, unfollow or mute. I realize sometimes unfollow is not an option because we don't, you want to play the political game, whatever. Mute. They don't know if they're muted. It's the best thing that you can do. This is going to leave you so much space to create and innovate versus what the mass does, what the average person does, which is consume and compare. That's what basic bitches do. Basic bitches scroll, consume other people's magic, compare themselves to other people's magic, and then don't take action because now they're left sick and overconsumed and stuffed full with other people's stuff that there's no room to create their own. And then they doubt themselves because, again, they're over-consuming. We are not basic bitches. We create and we innovate, but we have to have space for that. So put your blinders up. Do you know why that's even a saying? So where that saying comes from is from horse racing. So horses have to have these blinders on, like on either side of, I don't know. I heard this. I don't know if this is actually true. I think it's true, but they have to have like some sort of blinders beside their eyes because otherwise, if they're running at however miles per hour horses run, which is freaking fast, racing, there are all these other horses beside them. And if they get distracted and even for a split second, look to the left or the right, what's going to happen? They're going to fall. That's what's going to happen. And that is detrimental in a horse race. That can kill a horse, kill a jockey. No bueno. So blinders up. Same thing for us. If you want to do something incredible in this lifetime, in this year, this month, whatever, you cannot afford to be in your own race, putting out your own magic, and then look to the left or the right, get distracted, and fall. That happens all the time. Put your blinders up. Number 3, we're going to respect the status quo, but if need be, we are going to disrupt it. So back when I said, when is the last time you have gone to put out a piece of content or an offer or whatever it is that you do in your business and for your art, your craft, and you stop to ask yourself, how can I make this different? How can I put my spin on this? My energetic signature. This is what I'm talking about here. We don't need to shit on other people. We don't need to lower ourselves to hate on anybody who isn't here yet. We're all on our own path, right? We're all on our own different, levels of awareness and wokeness or whatever, and it doesn't serve anybody to look at other people who are maybe a little slower or a little faster than you and compare yourself and hate on them for whatever reason. That's not the energy we're trying to put out. So just because you think differently than somebody else, it doesn't matter. So respect, not even the status quo, but like respect everybody else's timeline. If you're really focused on what it is that you're doing and you're proud of what you're putting out into the world, then naturally your blinders are up and you're not really concerned with what other people are doing, right? And that's why they say, like, for the most part, successful people don't hate because they're busy creating their own stuff and having a good time. They're not concerned about what somebody who's less successful than them or more successful is doing in most cases. So respect where everybody else is at, but how can you disrupt it? How can you put your own energetic signature on what's considered the norm? Just ask yourself that question. You're going to get ideas. Something's going to come up for you. And I bet it's freaking incredible. Number 4, how to channel and carry the energy of the rebel archetype into 2024 You are going to have the audacity to go big and believe in your capability to make that big thing come to life, even if everyone else thinks you are delusional for believing it that strongly. So this is what I was talking about earlier. The rebel, she doesn't care what's happened in the past. She doesn't care the amount of revenue she made last year or the year before, or what went wrong in 2023 or yesterday, or what failed launch, or what so-and-so said, or how she even thought of herself yesterday. That is in the past. It's done. It's dusted. It doesn't freaking matter. All she cares about is her vision and what she is creating and what is happening, what will happen. She believes in her vision so strongly that it's done. In her mind, she's already acting as if. She's already preparing for the award. She's preparing for the money to flow in. She's making plans of how she's going to contribute and what she's going to buy and where she's going to travel and what she's going to say for her acceptance speech or whatever. Like, that's the level she believes in what she does, so much so that people that's never seen her do it or seen anybody do it think she's freaking cray-cray. Delusional, delulu. That is rebel freaking energy right there. Why? Because the average person could never. That's not true. They can, but they're not there yet. They don't have the level of self-belief or belief in general to allow themselves to risk believing in something so big, because they're afraid of what happens if it doesn't happen. They're afraid of the judgment. They're afraid of the failure. They're afraid of the fear in general, so much so that they won't even allow themselves to dream bigger than what they're dreaming. But not us. We've been there. We've done that. And we have the audacity to go there, even when the average person doesn't. And more so than that, it's so much more than just talking the talk and saying, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I'll probably do that. But like in a chill, cool, if it happens, great. If it doesn't, whatever. I'm not really going to commit because I don't want to like make a fool of myself, because I'm too cool. It's like, no, I'm going to be the biggest podcaster in the world soon. And you're like, okay, didn't know you were Alex Cooper or Joe Rogan. No, I'm not. It's fine. I'll be up there. Okay, crazy. Yeah, I am crazy. Don't forget it. That's what we're looking for. That level of think what you want. I'm going for it. Because you know that you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. That's something so big, it doesn't just happen accidentally, right? If you're dreaming big enough, then it's not something that you're just going to wake up and boom, win the award, boom, hit that level of revenue, boom, fly, to all those countries or whatever your big vision is. If it's something that could just randomly happen, you're not thinking big enough. This has got to be something that you put the dot on the map and move toward consistently, or it's not going to happen. That is what we're looking for. So the audacity to claim it and the level of delusion to believe that it's already done. Because of course, because what else would it be? Because I said so. That's the energy we're looking for. Number 5, we are going to be clear and unapologetic about what we want and deserve. So this is a conversation about boundaries. This is a conversation about self-worth. This goes back to the audacity conversation. This is anything that you feel like any kind of standard that you're reflecting back on. You're like, oh man, I let this thing happen to me, right? Like we are taking full responsibility for what has taken place in our life. And we're realizing like, I let that person treat me that way. I let that thing happen. I let that thing go on too far. I either didn't set the standards or I didn't hold the standards. That's on me. And moving forward, because I'm not going to spend any time flowing any energy to a past situation, moving forward, this is what I want. This is what I need. This is what I deserve. And this is what I refuse to not accept from you, from a situation, from anything. Do you hear the decisiveness in that? Do you hear the energy of that? I'm not asking you if it's okay to believe in myself. I'm not asking you to please respect me. I'm not asking you to please don't copy my stuff or to please finish your payment plan. I'm saying these are terms that you signed. I'm saying this is the mark of a true gifted creator, somebody worth respecting in an industry, and you will act like that and treat me as such. So boundaries, self-worth, audacity. You are going to be clear about what it is that we want and what we deserve. No apology about it. Not happening. It just is what it is. It's written in stone. And if you don't match that, we're moving on across the board. What is the saying? Roll around with dogs, you get fleas. Don't throw your pearls among swine. Like, you get it, that vibe. And then the last, number 6, this is the 6th thing that we are feeling into and getting clear on to channel the rebel archetype going into 2024 and beyond, is we are taking full responsibility for the change that we wish to experience. No more looking for a hero. No more praying for somebody to swoop in and fix things, whether it be a mentor, a romantic partner, a sugar daddy, a friend, a good Samaritan, none of it. You're the boss of your life. You're the hero of your story. When you think back on your story, do you want to be the hero, or do you want to think of some random good Samaritan or mentor or romantic partner that was the hero that saved you? Ew. No. No. We're not doing that. Everything that you have experienced in business, in life, in whatever situation, you have to take responsibility for that. There's a reason why it happened to you. What was the role that you played in that? I'm not talking about anything from childhood, okay? I'm talking about as adults. What is the role that we played in that? And allowed that to shape our reality, allowed that to whatever the situation, anything that doesn't serve you. What is our role that we played in that? It's different if something awful happens to you and you take it and you learn from it and it changes your life in a good way in hindsight. And then we see situations where something happens and that's just the life story right there. That's just, and obviously we're not going to, there's a ton of nuance here. But regardless, you stop looking for the hero. It's you. Go look in the freaking mirror. You are the person to pull you out of this mess. You are the person to create the experience and the life and the business of your wildest dreams. You are the person to love yourself deeper and more than anybody else has on the planet. You are the person to save your life, everything. That's you. You have the power in you. And you can make it happen so much faster than praying for somebody else to, because they're doing it for themselves. That's a you thing. That is the rebel energy that we're carrying into 2024. Okay. So here's what I want to say to you, wrapping up, and then I'll tell you about this 31-day situation that we can all do together to really, really, really seal this in, package this up, infuse it into our veins and soul, and freaking go into the year like the rock stars that we are. Here's what I want to say to you. You are magic. You are magnetic. You are complicated. You are confusing. You are dynamic. You are a rebel in your own right, but you are a rebel with a cause. There are things that you believe in deeply. There are things that you came here to experience, to create. There is a reason why your life and the way that it's played out has played out. There's a reason why you chose people to come into your life and your parents and the trauma that you've experienced. Like, there's a reason why these things happen to you, because you are meant to be the person that makes the change in that area. You're meant to be the person that relates to other people that can relate to that thing. You have a cause. You have a mission. It's already in you. It's yours. But it will not play out on its own. You have to decide to ride that ship into the sunset. You have to be the one to steer the ship. Otherwise, it's just going to keep going in circles and circles and circles. This vessel of all of this potential that goes nowhere because you refuse to steer it, because you refuse to move forward, because you're so focused on the past, or you're so concerned with what other people are doing, or doubt, or whatever the thing is. Move. Decide where you want to go. Realize that if you have that thing in you, there's a reason why, and then freaking move. Believe that you can make it happen and go into every single step along the way with that energy. And if you forget, which you will, because that's normal, that's human, that's part of it, you remind yourself again, you redecide, and you move again. That is how you're going to make your wildest dreams come true in 2024 and beyond. Okay? So Rebel, who is Rebel for? It's for her. Capital H, her. The seeker, the creator, the dreamer, the truth teller, the troublemaker, the outcast, the breakout, the glitch in generational DNA. The never satisfied, the happy to not fit in, the often left out, the one they gossip about, the one who doesn't give a you-know-what, the one that cares deeply and honors herself anyway. It's for the destined, the star, the doer, the rebel. So Rebel is a 31-day group, program, whatever you want to call it, to set yourself apart for the rest of your life. You will receive daily prompts, activations, prayers, and actions to spoil your spirit, sharpen your wit, explode your self-love, and forge your own way. So when you join, beginning on January 1st, you're going to receive something every single day from me to your inbox, or I think you'll get an email, but it's going to be in your library when you buy it. But there's a module for every day. So day 1, day 2, day 3, all for every single day of the month, even the weekends. And each thing will take you somewhere between like 5 and 15 minutes to complete. But it's all to infuse your heart and your soul and your spirit with this vibe. Because you may be fired up right now. You may take this and be like, yeah, I done. I got it. But for a lot of you, that feeling is going to last 15 minutes and then it's going to be right back to where we started, which is fine. But we've all been there. So if you really want to seal this in and make it part of your freaking DNA, get in Rebel. The price is pretty low ticket for what it is, for sure. It changes pretty much every day. So definitely go check it out today. The link is in the show notes. But I made it as low ticket as absolute possible. And when you consider what this can do for your vibe and your business, it ain't nothing. It ain't nothing. So if this resonates, I hope to see you there. I love you. I believe in you. I cannot wait to hear the craziness and the magic that you create this year and the obstacles you overcome. And I just can't wait to hear it all. And same for me. 2024 doesn't know it's hit it yet. I love you. I'll see you next week, which is New Year's Day. I think next week, hold on, let me see my calendar. I think we have, yeah, this is cool. So it'll be January 1st when Rebel starts. I'll see you then. Love you.